Welcome back to Screencast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be your host today. Nick Scarpino is my name. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_Scarpino. There's also another Nick Scarpino on Twitter. Leave him alone. He is a decent human being. He's a civilian. He is not a part of this game. He does not want anything you have for him. I want it all, though. You know who else wants it all, ladies and gentlemen? My two co-hosts today. Joey Noel is the first one, the movie roast herself. Joey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Just wishing that I had coffee. At least we're talking about that right before the show started. I realized I messed up today.
It's okay because tomorrow is the exact same day as today. We are in Groundhog Day, and that's how it goes. Joining us as well is the big dog producer, Kevin Coelho, who, Kevin, you're a little low on your frame right now.
Yeah,
oh, no, you're not. Okay,
sorry, well, no, yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking.
I never know where to look on this because now Discord lets us watch the show live, and I know we could have done that before, but now it's like I'm seeing the preview. I'm seeing Joe. Joe, I have to ask this question. Are you wearing the top knot because we're about to talk about Saved by the Bell?
Not intentionally, but I like that you think that I put that much thought into it. I like to think that have major Jesse Spano vibes.
It 100% has major Jesse, very, very much Jesse Spano vibes. I like to believe that we all put a ton of effort and thought into this show in particular. But
listen, if you want me to start dressing according to the stories,
absolutely,
you'd have to get the stories done earlier.
Every week it's gonna be the Snyder. It's gonna be Tron and the Snyder Cut news. So pick one and let's go through it.
So I need to get a Tron costume and a Batman costume. I'll see what I can do.
That's cool. So Nick, when we started, there was a 3 seconds of like this on the thing, and then I got rid of it. That's fine, right?
Okay, I don't care.
All right, cool.
This show's for this. I mean, this show's just for people to get all of their hard-hitting news and mostly just hear me talk about old '80s movies. Not the least of which is I have two bangers for you guys later to talk about on the Nick list. Before we get to that, of course, we want to thank our Patreon producer this month, Mohammed. He has hung in there with us for 8 months straight, probably longer than that actually, and we love you very, very much. Thank you for your support. If you guys want to support us as well by buying some of our cool merchandise, you can go over to kindafunny.com/store and check out what we got over there. Of course, this episode is brought to you by MeUndies. We'll get to that ad read a little bit later and talk about all the softness on the good parts. And we have a fun thing at the end of the show today. We have a special guest coming over from Rooster Teeth. Yssa Badiola is stopping by to talk about Recorded by Arizal, a new series that's going to be premiering soon on that platform. And right now there's 4 cool little prelude episodes up. So she's going to stop by to talk to us about that. We're going to ask her about the process, sort of in her inspiration, and when can we expect the full episodes, which there is no, I don't think there's any info out there about that yet. So we're going to break it here, guys. Breaking news on Screencast for the first time ever. People are going to write about us.
I don't know if that's true.
And
why would you say something you're not certain is true? Are we really breaking
Kevin,
that news?
Good journalism. Good journalism is like a good piece of tech.
Often made up.
You sell people on it first, and then you try to figure out how to do it. You see what I'm saying? Did you ever see that movie about Elizabeth? Not Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth
the blood box, right?
What was the Elizabeth the blood box person? The blood thing, blood doping. HBO documentary. You saw her once in a Marina Market. Elizabeth Holmes, my wife says.
Oh, that's right.
That was her methodology. She was like, "We're going to figure out how to. We're going to sell people on the idea first, and then figure out how to do it later." And guess what, Kevin? It worked out great. Worked out great for her.
Okay. No, it didn't though. That has worked out for other people. Just to be clear.
Story.
It works out for a lot of tech people sometimes, but it's one of those tech like people playing the odds where for every one person it works out for, there's like 30 people that go to jail. It doesn't matter. We're already having fun on this. Guess what? Look what happened here. You see this, Joe?
That's what really unfair.
This is why you should get married, because you can ask your.
That doesn't look like Starbucks though.
No, because the Starbucks. The only Starbucks within walking distance of me turned into a Starbucks Reserve, and they don't do traditional like venti iced coffee things anymore. Now it's all bougie as shit, and I'm not into that. Plus, this is from a local shop run by a family, and I love them very much, and they've been with me the entire pandemic, and they're super cool. Except today, I got a bagel from them, and I was like, "Can I get a plain bagel?" And he reached in and he grabbed a poppy seed kind of onion bagel, and I was like, "Stop him! And then my brain was like, "But it smells good, Kevin." So now my room smells a lot like onions, but you guys can't tell.
Just to be clear, you decided not to stop him.
Oh, yeah. Because part of me was like, maybe we'll go on this adventure together. Kevin, you need nature. Variety is the spice of life, as they say, Kevin.
Yeah,
Which is why you have a dog and a cat.
Yes.
Quick question for Joey before we move on to the news stories. How you sleeping these days with Moose?
I'm sleeping really great. Sorry, I accidentally unplugged my computer.
Glad to hear it.
But he escaped from his crate the other night.
What?
Yeah. Did he snuggle up to you?
There's no way. How? He's not small enough.
He was like pawing at the door enough that he got the like latch open.
Interesting.
Wow. He's the size of a small shoe, like a child's kid.
They clearly messed up the latch, because that is my old crate, and I assure you, if you close it correctly, there's no getting out.
Well, that's Tim. He doesn't understand how mechanics work. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great thing. If you want to subscribe to our Patreon, our Platinum tier today is going to be all the Panda Musk Cyberpunk prints that we're doing, and they're really, really cool. And I can say this with all honesty, mine and Kevin's is dope. Ours is the best. No big deal. But you get them all anyway, so you guys can decide for yourself. These are collectible items, and one day I have it on very good authority again. We'll just put this out there, and we'll try to figure out how to make it worth. They're going to be worth a lot of money one day. A lot of money. These are exclusive. They may or may not be shiny. They may or may not be worth a lot of money later. But if you guys get them, if you back us at the Platinum tier. All right, let's go into some news. How do we feel about that, guys? Great.
Great.
I nodded in readiness. I'm trying to keep my mic off as much as possible.
I respect it. Joey's like, I have stuff.
Sorry,
to do.
my stuff keeps going in and out. So
I understand. It's like are you having a desk issue? Because I have a desk space issue. Me and Andy are always having a desk space issue, where you can never have too much space in the desk, Kev. Never.
If you guys looked at my desk, I think the amount of stuff that I fit onto it. I have 3 monitors, 2 of which are wider than normal monitors. On one of our desks. You remember the desks that we have at the studio?
Oh, yeah. The white desks, sure.
Yeah, and it's jammed in here real tight. There
it is. Jammed in real tight. Speaking of jammed in real tight, ladies and gentlemen, I watched this trailer right before the show, and I'm very, very happy of it. Top of the news story is going to be the second teaser. I didn't realize it was the first one, of course, for Saved by the Bell. Now, Joey, you threw this on there, and I was
did.
like, I saw it. I kind of glossed over it for a second, not realizing the importance and the impact of this trailer. Of course, this is from an article. It says the show, which follows a new crop of students at Bayside High, features Elizabeth Berkley as Jessie Spano, mother of a football team captain Jamie, played by Belmont Camelli, and Mario Lopez is on board, returning as AC Slater, now a gym teacher at the school. The series will air on NBC's subscription service Peacock. No premiere date has yet been set, largely due to the production has been halted because of the pandemic-related production reasons. Man, what did you guys think of this teaser trailer?
It does not look great.
It looks great. How dare you? How does it not look? What? Joey, I thought you'd be 100% on board on this.
Here's the thing. It doesn't look great. Am I still going to watch it? Absolutely. 100%.
It looks better than the original Saved by the Bell, but that's not saying much because the original Saved by the Bell was like a, multicam sitcom.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. So this at least brings us into like the single cam territory. It looks like it's higher production value. But I'll tell you what, I wasn't on board until they started playing I'm So Excited. And I was like, that seems like a really weird use for that song because contextually in the original episode, it was like that episode was dark. It dealt with like addiction when she was addicted to the caffeine pills. And then a girl pulls out a bottle of caffeine pills. And I was like, wait a minute, are we going here? And then Elizabeth Berkley, Jessie just snatches it out of her hand. And she goes, you can't use these because at first you're going to use them and you're going to get excited. Then you're going to keep using them. You're going to be really excited. But then you're going to be too excited.
I like that she just plays into it. And it's just what I appreciate about reboots that we're getting is that they know what they are. They're not taking themselves too seriously. They are, I think, like playing on the campy kind of like just.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, Saved by the Bell knows.
They're not trying to be like, really cutting social commentary on anything or like.
I doubt that. It would be interesting if they did try to go that route. But what I love is they got Elizabeth Berkley back. And I feel like, and I'm saying this in all seriousness, I really feel like we all owe Elizabeth Berkley like a big apology because that woman has taken a lot of shit from people over the years, largely due to Showgirls. And I watched that documentary about Showgirls. It's a great
movie though, right?
And no, it's
well, really I mean, like if you're like a 13-year-old.
It's got a lot of nudity in it. Yeah, that's what you're referring to.
There's a good amount of sex too, right?
Yeah, but the sex and all of it is so outrageously
Yeah,
over
but
the
like a
top.
13-year-old doesn't understand. We don't
No, when I
know.
was a kid, I didn't care if I saw
Yeah.
naked flesh. I was like,
Right? Naked
I
flesh.
just would turn the volume real down and just wait until my
Right?
parents went to bed. But what I'm saying is, on a real note, a lot of people, she took a lot of shit for that movie, and I basically ended her career as a film actress because of how outrageous the performance was. And I had always thought, up until watching that documentary, that it was her. That's what she wanted to do with the role. But
Mm-hmm.
it was only maybe about 10 years ago where Paul Verhoeven, the director, who I really respect, of course, because he directed RoboCop, which I love, and Total Recall, came out and was like, honestly, I pushed her. I wanted her to be that outrageous. I wanted her to be manic. I wanted that to be sort of anachronistic for not anachronistic, but sort of indicative of her drug abuse and but they never really explicitly said it. So basically, she was like, I don't want to play this role this way, and he kept pushing take after take after take for her to be more outrageous. And then when you see it on screen, she comes off like an insane human being. And nobody in the scenes are like, what? Like none of it makes any sense. It's just, I think, in my opinion, a movie where it just they went for something and man, it didn't work. And unfortunately, the person that should have taken the shit for it, which I think Paul Verhoeven did take some shit for it because he got one of those Razzies, but I think she unfortunately took the brunt of it. So seeing her come back and reprising this character and having fun with it, I think is very, very exciting. I'm not excited that it's
Mario
on
Lopez.
Peacock. And Mario Lopez. I mean, Mario Lopez like never really went away though. He found his home on like E or Access Hollywood, whatever.
Hollywood.
Yeah. And everyone's like, yeah, that's where he belongs. He's a great host, and he's just that guy. My big question is, well, first off, I don't love that it's on Peacock because I don't love. Oh, actually, no, I do love it now because I think you can get Peacock through PS4, so I'll be excited about that. They obviously knocked it out of the park with the second Psych movie.
Peacock through all like the apps? Why don't you get a Chromecast or a Fire Stick TV?
Well, because I use PS4 and it's totally fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean the PS4 app just launched, which I had to watch. Unfortunately, the Psych 2 on through my Comcast. It just wasn't a very fun experience because the watching an app through Comcast is
it looks like shit. I mean, it's gonna be
Comcast. It looks like shit. You have to watch 15 ads beforehand, and if you pause it or try to roll it back, it just like every single time, no matter what you hit, it restarts the episode. And I'm just like, oh my god, I hate this. But I'm excited to watch this on PS4. And man, if I don't have to pay for it, all the better. Joey, follow-up question for Saved by the Bell. What do you think? What do you think the chances of Mark Paul Gosselaar or Tiffany, and I'm going to say it, Amber Thiessen show up?
So I'm pretty sure that Zach Morris, I think he's the governor or some city council governor might be giving him too much credit. I think he might be some city council.
I think he's the mayor, right?
Is he the mayor?
Something like that. Zach Morris, Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, where's he at now?
I'm hoping I don't think this is realistic, but I'm hoping that he and Tiffany Amber Thiessen are married in this.
That'd be great.
I feel like that's a big ask. It's a big ask.
Is it a big ask? Because what are they doing?
I think so.
The last time I remember seeing Tiffany Amber Thiessen in something was in Suits, or not Suits, White Collar, which she was good in. I really like seeing her in that, and she's popped up here and there. Mark Paul Gosselaar, of course, Franklin and Bash, one of the best shows ever on television, and the biggest travesty to this day that it got pulled off.
Oh my gosh!
Him and Breckin Meyer just had that chemistry. They had that glue like me and Kevin do when we're making fun of Tim, where it's that like special like Jordan.
It's a good, yeah,
crushing line. So I'm hoping they both do.
Yeah. Entertainment Tonight says Gosselaar, who originally wasn't approached to appear in the reboot, will appear in at least 3 episodes as the now governor of California.
Naturally.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
I mean, this is an article from March, so they could have maybe changed some things since then.
What about, can you Google Tiffany Amber Thiessen? She's got to be in it. You can't have it. And also, what's her name?
Lark Voorhees not in it.
Who's that?
Lark Voorhees is not in it. That was
really?
like
Why
a
not?
Sub little thing.
Didn't want to do it.
I just saw like a sub headline that was like she was really sad that she didn't get.
Oh, that sucks. She didn't get asked to come back.
Isn't she kind of crazy though?
No, Dustin Diamond's kind of crazy, I think.
No, Dustin Diamond's really.
He did some like home sex porno tapes, yeah, and I think he got into drugs a little bit there.
I thought.
I don't want to be spread allegedly. I don't want to be spread rumors on shit.
I mean, he for sure did porn, and like
that's for sure. You can watch Screech porn whenever you want.
Lark Voorhees got like really.
Well, if you Google Lark Voorhees, one of the second videos that comes up is Dr. Oz and Lark Voorhees on The Voices in Her Head.
Oh, okay.
I meant more like she got really like rambly and conservative, but
Oh, I see.
I didn't mean to make fun of any
like,
actual like
there's a lot of mental
like
illness like videos. I don't know what the like validity is on them, but it does seem like there's some mental illness issues here.
Well, I mean,
I
first and
wonder,
foremost, she's gone on Dr.
did she
Oz, so
do
right there she's
anything
making some mistakes.
after? Did she do anything after Saved by the Bell?
I don't think a lot of them did, but we can look at her IMDb.
How High seems like she was in How High.
Oh, great film. Great film.
Not great. Okay, so they will. So Tiffany Thiessen is in it, and she'll be in an episode or two.
See, I don't like this. I don't understand why you can't get them both back. Now, I understand that like Peacock, NBC is probably hurting for cash.
Though.
But I'm just saying, man, why can't it be about like if I were making this show, I'd be like, they all have kids. They're all the kids going to Bayside High, and then it's about them. Who cares about the kids, Joey? This is my youth.
No, I understand, but they're trying to, find a new audience that's not
this
30-somethings that grew up watching this.
Yeah, but the original show was great and terrible.
It's true.
What were you saying, Kevin?
I was just gonna say this is probably not meant for us, and probably trying to invigorate the same audience that it hit when it came out.
Oh, of course, 90s, it's meant for young adults or young teenagers to watch, just like we watched it all in the 90s. I was like, this show is absurd and really, really bad, but there was an addictive quality to it, and that we'll credit largely to Mark Paul Gosselaar's hair, because he had great hair in it.
Yeah.
And AC Slater had those great abs.
Again?
What's that?
In the show? Do you think he'll still be blonde in the show, or do you think he'll have like dark hair like he has now?
I think he's got to be blonde. I don't know. It depends on how much they pay him, but
will it be dyed? Will it be a wig?
I hope it's a wig.
Put it on Wigging Out.
If it's a wig, it'll be on Wigging Out for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for that. We will be reviewing it as it comes out. Next news story. Let's segue a little bit. A few details on the new Zack Snyder cut have been coming out. And last week we got our first tease of a revamped Steppenwolf. This story comes from cinemablend.com, but you guys can find it everywhere. You can see the difference. Actually, Kevin, I don't know if you can pull this up or not, but I have a link down there for a side-by-side comparison of the old Steppenwolf on Twitter versus the new Steppenwolf. And it's a significantly different design. The character is sleeker. It doesn't have armor. It looks a lot more alien. It doesn't look quite as humanoid as the original one. And I don't know if we can pull that up or not, but it's interesting. It's interesting that he wanted to change the look of Steppenwolf as well.
We're getting these just like trickle weekly updates to this.
Well, it's weird because it's such a weird world we live in, because there we go. We can see it right there. So you can see the difference between him looking a little bit more like a human versus an admittedly low res, probably production still they took off the screen. But him looking a lot sleeker and a lot more alien in nature. It'll be interesting. I don't know. It's just so weird to me because in traditional years, you would just have, if a major release like this, if people were just dropping this stuff, it would be so uncouth. But now it's like, Snyder's just going to tweet this out, or someone's saying it's fine. Nobody cares anymore. It's cool just to kind of see this stuff kind of be put out haphazardly whenever they want. But yeah, there it is right there. So you can tell he looks a lot scarier and a lot more like a demon.
Monster-y.
It's so interesting because it's just like, will this really make anything better? Because, like, regardless of Steppenwolf looking dumb the whole time, that wasn't the reason why I didn't like Steppenwolf, you know?
Yeah, I would love to, and I'm sure we'll have multiple interviews not us, but there will be multiple interviews with Zack Snyder asking him why he decided to change what he decided to change, or what his original version was versus what he ended up doing. But I have to imagine there's a part of him that's like, got enough money, I can make it better than it was before. So if this was, I would love to know if this is the original Steppenwolf design he had in mind, or if he's like, fuck it, let's just tweak things here and there because we've got time, and this is going to be a huge money maker for HBO Max anyway. So let's just take our time with it and get a couple more artists on board and be like, here's what I thought it was going to look like. Here's what it looks like now. How do we make it better? Because this is the first time really in a long time in movie history where you can literally go back and look at someone else's mistakes, and you could look at the mistakes that maybe your film was going to make, and you can correct them. But now I know that he's doing is essentially taking out the what Joss put in and putting in stuff that he's already shot. But you have to imagine that if it were me, I'd be like this. Let's tweak some shit.
Nick, that's like the smartest thing.
Yeah. He's got like what, $40 million to play around with this, which is ridiculous. 30
which is just like, if at the end of $30 million you're still like, it's good, but it's not the movie. It's not perfect the way I saw it, originally. It's like, all right, get out of here.
Well, I think they're gonna give him as much backing as humanly possible, so that when he puts this out, this will be the official stamp. He'll put his official stamp on this for sure, because he's been very, very adamant about very much hating the Joss Whedon version. Even though I think at one point he said he never saw it, but he says he doesn't like. I think he just doesn't like it at all, and I respect that. But we'll see how it goes. But to your point, Kevin, yeah, the design of Steppenwolf never really stuck out to me as being like this is a make or break element. But this is just one thing that he's changing.
I feel like the skin textures always looked really rubbery, and it just didn't look as premium as like it should have for how big of a movie that was budget wise. But like, yeah, like I couldn't care. Like, more importantly, I did not care even a little bit by the character. They was just like, oh, look at this indestructible character that suddenly becomes a joke as soon as Superman's introduced.
Yeah. The movie had a lot more problems than that. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see these kind of trickle out as they go.
I'm definitely interested to see, like, I hope that they use that 30 million in a good way and make it like look cooler. And like you said,
I think for the most part, it's going to be either done. I think that at one point they said they were doing reshoots, and then another point they said they're not doing reshoots. But for sure, they're largely just taking the original footage he shot and finishing the effects on it and finishing. And I think the score is coming back, and a lot of other stuff's coming back. So it's going to be a decidedly different movie, that's for sure.
It does look like there's a lot of stuff that was shot that wasn't used that is very, very different. We've seen little clips of Superman like meeting Alfred in the black suit. It's like, oh yeah, that's crazy.
It'll be interesting, man. I'm always a sucker for like the director's cut of movies.
Yeah.
So I mean, this one I'm not particularly. I don't need it. If this was something that never happened, I don't think I'd ever think twice about it. But when you go back and watch like the director's cut of Aliens or any of the 15 Blade Runner cuts or the Richard Donner cut for Superman, it's always cool to see what they originally intended versus what ended up on the screen. And then of course reading sort of, I don't know if we'll ever really know the full story of the Snyder leaving and Joss coming in, because I know there's more details that people have rumored.
Isn't it pretty clear that like the WB wasn't happy with Snyder's cut, and he had the loss of his daughter, and basically he needed time off, and then they just kind of were like, okay, we're gonna extend that. And they brought somebody else in.
It's never been 100% confirmed that I know of. And I've tried to read and find some stuff when the original news broke, but for the most part, people are. I don't think any executive at DC or at Warner's coming out either way and saying it, because at this point, who cares?
Yeah.
At this point, it doesn't really matter why he left it or why he was asked to leave. Vice versa, what doesn't matter. What matters is that he's coming out with a new one, and we'll get to watch it, and we'll more likely than not get to hear Greg wheeze laugh and or wheeze cry when it comes out, and that is.
I hope it's everything he hopes it is. I hope that's.
I really do too. Yeah. We started a lot of the criticism of this by shitting on it, because that's what we do. But for Greg, for no other people that our good friend. Well, for our good friend Greg, no, I just mean like the idea of it being done. And to begin with, I always just kind of thought it was a bad idea. But Greg is looking forward to it. And for our dear friends, Greg, and all of our best friends out there, they're looking forward to it. Hey, I hope it turns out well. If nothing else, Superman in the black suit does look dope. A more important story, Joe, is this has been confirmed already, but they finally have a director, or willing to talk about the director who has been signed on for the new Tron movie starring Jared Leto. It's going to be director of Lion, Gareth Davis. Now, I never saw Lion, but it's that's the movie with, I think,
one.
I'm forgetting the actors, Nicole Kidman and the not Vince Patel.
No, is it Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, she plays his adopted mom.
Oh,
doesn't she?
Yeah, that won
Academy Awards. It looked
Best
amazing.
Picture, right?
I never saw it because it's one of those movies where I'm like, this is going to be fucking intense and it's going to wrench my heart away, and I can't do it. My wife saw it and said she cried all the way through it.
All the way.
But it's interesting because the last director of Tron, Joseph Kosinski, very much coming from more of a visual style. It'll be really cool to see someone come from more of a storytelling background and like more of an indie background, and see what he brings to the table. And also, just Joe, I don't know if you care about staring at Jared Leto in futuristic costumes, but I fucking do. I love it.
Jared Leto scares me sometimes. I feel like he
doesn't
goes
do it for
too
you?
hard.
No, he is. I agree that he's kind of scary.
It's just one of those things, like, you hear about him when he does things, and you're like, you're putting too much of an emphasis on like the role in a way that's making people uncomfortable, and you don't seem to respect that they're uncomfortable.
You mean that he's method?
Yeah.
Method, yeah.
Yeah. But like you shouldn't be
I
method when
watch
you're
My
the
So-Called
Joker.
Teenage Life, so I don't have that tie to
My So-Called
Jared
Life.
Leto.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is he in that?
With what's her name? He's
Claire Danes?
Jordan Catalano. He's
Catalina
the
wine
guy.
mixer.
I
mean,
did really
obviously,
like 30 Seconds to Mars.
well, of course, you like gal like that. I mean, recently, I was watching. We watched Interstellar for in review, which if you guys haven't gone and watched, please watch that and watch along with us as we review it because it's one of my all-time favorite movies, and I know Kevin loves it as well. But I remember seeing McConaughey in that and thinking, oh man, this was like the 3-year span that McConaughey had where he just did bangers, and one of them, of course, was Dallas Buyers Club.
Yep.
Okay.
And that was the first time I remember seeing Jared Leto and being like, well, he was like in Fight Club, and he's been in a lot of great movies. But I remember seeing
him too, right?
Yeah, but here seeing him in that role, I was like, oh my god, this guy is on both these guys are on a different fucking level. And then of course he came back as Neander Wallace in the newest Blade Runner, and so the idea of seeing him in another futuristic setting for me is very nostalgic because I really want another Blade Runner, and I'm never going to get it. It's not going to be in my lifetime, that's for sure.
That's so upsetting.
Well, people don't like art, Kevin.
Blade Runner is so good. And it made so
excellent.
Little money.
It made I can make more money working at a Starbucks in a day than that movie made. Unfortunately,
wasn't it also? Is it not part of this news that this is coming out on Disney?
No, so that was misreported. It was reported originally from fandom that it was coming out on Disney Plus. That's been a correction. It's actually they don't have they don't know where that's coming out. That would be fucking amazing.
Right, I was gonna say like that would be extremely ambitious, and I feel like that would be the first major game changer where like. I know that Mulan's coming on here, but like Mulan was made to come out in movie theaters.
Mulan didn't have a choice.
Right.
It didn't have a choice, right? So, they want to make money back on that. They got to put it on Disney Plus.
So I'm very production with the intent of releasing it.
Right, because like that's the first time we're going to see a budget and be able to be like, okay, so what are they actually willing to bet on this movie,
Well, we'll see, because that, I mean, like you mentioned, that's going to be sort of I think a lot of execs at Disney are kind of champing at the bit to see how well a digital release of a major picture like that does. If it does do that well, if they can make a decent amount of money on Mulan, it's possible that we start seeing some major theatrical releases come out very shortly, because they're sitting on Mulan and Black Widow right now, right?
Yeah,
they could legitimately, if Mulan does well, it's not crazy to think that Black Widow might be right behind it, even though that would.
You don't think they'd do New Mutants first?
I think New Mutants they would probably give out for free at this point. I think they want to just get that fucking movie out somehow and make their money back. But again, remember that was an acquisition from Fox, so I don't know how much
they might not be able to, but they may not be able to because of the acquisition, because of the
theatrical. Yeah,
there were a bunch of little,
like a certain number of guaranteed theatrical releases.
Yeah, I believe so. But I mean, that might have been like in the next year. So I wonder what happens now with all the COVID stuff, where like they can't release because of that. In the next
I don't know.
Some weird clause, right?
Yeah. Well, everyone's sort of we call it the be cool clause, where it's like, this is a global pandemic. Come on, guys, be cool.
Someone's saying New Mutants is coming out August 21st. I wonder if that's worldwide release, because there are theaters opens.
Yeah. Well, what was the other movie that was coming out?
Trying to open again, right?
Yeah, there's a Bill and Ted's, I think, is coming out, but I think it's also going to be in theaters at some point too, in European nations, because there are theaters open. There's just none open in the United States, and of course, we like to think of ourselves as the only country in the center of the world, but we are not. So
Did you guys see this news that came out 5 hours ago? I'm opening now. It's a CNN story. AMC is reopening its theaters next week with a 15-cent ticket.
I did see that.
Sorry, I've just seen this now.
Go for it.
Thing.
That's a bad idea.
Well, it's just it's a one-day anniversary thing. It's not like a permanent thing.
Oh, okay. But still, not a great idea with the pandemic.
With 1,000 people dying a day. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Other Disney news, quickly segueing into this before we get to the Nick list and our review of the Harley Quinn series over on HBO Max. One of the rumors last week was that Disney was halting 4K Blu Ray releases. Tim dropped this story in. Reading up on it, though, Disney has actually gone ahead and said there are no plans to discontinue releases in a particular format. We evaluate each release on a case-by-case basis and pursue the best strategy to bring out content into consumer homes across platforms that meet a variety of demands. So a very, very, very generic, non-committal statement saying they have not halted 4K Blu-ray release production, but also they might halt 4K Blu-ray release production, but also it's very, very generic. So
I believe the original story was that they're halting production of all the old Fox properties. So all the old stuff, and that Disney would probably continue the Disney, the new.
It was a rumor from
stuff.
it was a rumor for the Digital Bits saying, in essence, the source said, beyond new release theatrical titles, animated fare from Disney and Pixar, like Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel related projects, there was no plans at the studio going forward to release titles on physical 4K Blu-ray. Future releases would be 4K digital only. So yeah, you're correct. Like all the other properties they got, and some of the older movies, maybe they don't want to do that for. And that kind of makes sense
super
to a degree, but they're Disney saying basically, hey, there's no hard set plan to halt production of that, but we're also not doing production of that. It's kind of a denial.
Honestly, like that sucks so bad, and I feel like the easiest place to look at is that would be relevant for us is like Dogma. Dogma really difficult to find because it's not streaming anywhere, and they no longer sell DVDs. I don't think they ever did Blu Ray releases, so the DVDs are really rare. Because they discontinued a long time ago, so it's really hard to watch Dogma. Fortunately, we like 3 out of the 5 people that were on in review had not digital copies, but physical copies.
Right.
But it's just like had that not been the case, it would have been difficult to get us all that. And if they stop producing old movies in new platforms, there is a chance that they will get lost.
Well, get lost, or there's also the socio sort of like. There's also the concept that they are allowed to edit what you like, what you can and can't watch, right? So
which
you can buy a movie
on
Disney.
Like Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, and they can do that on across platforms, right? Like it's possible you can buy a movie on Amazon, and then it's just like, if this were the case, maybe one day they lose the rights to that or something, and you go, oh, you can't watch this right now. Specifically for Disney, that is a concern, and it sucks, and it's unfortunate. But there's a lot of movies that I love from the '80s that you just can't find anymore. And if you do find them, you got to buy like $150 like DVD standard definition of them that may or may not work in your player, so you don't know. That's kind of an insidious way of looking at it. The better way of looking at it is just everything's going digital now, and that's just how it goes. And I'm sure a lot of this is based off of just the pure demand for them, which is probably not as high as it was 10 years ago, probably specifically not as high as it was 20 years ago. Because I think people, if they've proven anything, we are creatures of convenience over quality every single friggin' time, with the rare exception of maybe, the few of us sitting here right now, or some of us that are a little bit more into, I know Tim loves Blu-rays because of the quality for it, and I should too, but man, I've never bought one single solitary Blu-ray.
Oh man, I have so many. I don't have so many. I really enjoy buying them, and like I think that there's substantial quality difference between streaming and like streaming still comes at 4K, but like the bitrate is higher when you're watching it on your like Xbox. And it's a bummer because like I do love the experience, and they usually come with the digital code, and I'll put that in our Vudu account, and I like that I can watch movies, wherever. Like if we go to visit Paula's family, we've got this giant movie collection there that isn't available on streaming a lot of times,
right? Or
we don't have to pay for it.
It's also nice to get special edition on like the features on the Blu-rays and things like that, like the
absolutely.
DVD, like the commentaries, the behind the scenes stuff, where those are always so cool to see. And I know you can get a lot more often than not, someone rips those and puts them on YouTube and stuff, but you want to be supporting the original creator, and it's cool to see them in the original format. And it's just something that, if they stop selling Blu-rays and they don't have that bandwidth to make these additional features as a selling point, do they still make them? I don't know. Like, why
Disney
go?
Plus has
Disney, well, they have their own documentary series. So, what happened last show?
Joey's out. She'll be back.
We gotta lose Joey.
But I mean, Disney Plus has been doing. Oh, it's all messed up. Sorry, it was a second for our camera come back. Disney Plus has been doing some stuff with I'm sorry. What was I saying? Oh, with special features in the like. You'll go to the video, and underneath there'll be a little category with other like deleted scenes or little mini documentary stuff, and obviously they're releasing like for the Mandalorian the documentary series, but like that isn't the same as having the commentary track, and like that's great that Disney Plus does that, but Netflix doesn't, right?
Netflix doesn't give a fuck.
So like that's a bummer, and I like having the physical copies because I also like displaying stuff. I don't have it up now, but eventually there's going to be bookshelves right where I'm sitting here, and I've got a selection of Blu-rays or 4K Blu-rays that I'm gonna put up, and I'd like to keep that growing.
Well, maybe you will be able to. You will be. You will be. That's a Star Wars reference, Joey. That's a Star Wars reference. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break to tell you about our sponsor today. You've heard us talk about this brand a lot. It is near and dear to our hearts and our fun bits, MeUndies. MeUndies wants to talk about your underwear. Like, seriously, they have a lot of feelings about it and want to chat to anyone who's willing to listen. So here goes. MeUndies just wants everyone to feel comfy as heck with the freedom to express themselves. That's why they make the world's softest undies in classic colors and fun prints like dinos and surfboards. Whatever you put on every day, they want you to be comfortable. They want it to be comfortable. I don't know what that means. Let's see. MeUndies is serious about softness. So, like, serious. They scour. I read that sentence totally wrong. I read it twice, and then I was like, we got to just bail out and go to the rest of the copy. Seriously, they scour the world for softest fabric known to man. It all starts with the sustainably sourced beechwood trees that magically turn from pulp to yarn to undies. Undies that feel like heaven on your skin for comfort from the outside, literally to in. We are a huge MeUndies house here. We've been on this product since the second they gave us our first pairs. Kevin wears them, Greg wears them. Tim at this point is probably head to toe in MeUndies and is waiting for, I think Gia is also wearing the MeUndies, and I think they're waiting for MeUndies to come out with dog undies so that they can put Moose in them as well. I can't confirm
they
that.
have the buddy
little
bands.
handkerchiefs.
Yeah.
Do they have the little thingies? Okay, so they're for sure doing that.
Close.
Tim just switched over to the socks as well, and I think at this point, if he could legitimately go out of the house wearing only MeUndies and not get arrested, and that's pretty cool.
Yep, that is true. He won't have shoes on, but he will have socks.
Well, he doesn't need to wear shoes. So he probably can't reach his feet anyway. Keep your underwear drawer because he's not flexible enough. That's what I meant on that one. He's not very flexible. That's true. Keep your undie drawer stocked with MeUndies membership, a subscription that sends new pairs right to your door. Plus, get site-wide savings and exclusive sales. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping. This is a no-brainer, especially because they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Here's how you take advantage. To get your 15% off your first order, free shipping, and that 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. All right. We are.
I have to get the door really quick.
You got to get the door real quick.
Yeah,
okay. We're about 7 minutes away from having Yssa call in. So here's what we're going to do, everyone. Let's skip what we've watched for right now, Joe. And we'll just go straight into the Nick list. We'll talk about Harley Quinn for a few minutes as soon as Kevin gets back. And then we can call in Yssa and talk to her a little bit about Recorded by Arizal. We'll start with you because Kevin's answering his door, apparently.
What did you think? The construction people downstairs. But
yeah, whatever. What did you think of the Harley Quinn series on HBO Max? That was the Nick list watch homework this week.
I liked it. I only watched 3 episodes, so I know that both you and Kevin got a little bit farther than I did.
Yeah, I watched about 5 episodes of it. Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun. I think the dynamic between it's Lake Bell and who's the other girl?
It's Lake Bell and Kaylee Cuoco.
There we go.
Kevin, sorry, we're skipping what we watched this week. We'll talk about it next week. We're just going straight to the big topic, which is
had in my ears.
Got it. So sorry, continue, Joe.
Yeah, I think that they have like a fun like chemistry for the show and stuff like that. Animated is like not usually my vibe, but I do really like these characters, so I'm a little bit more incentivized. I don't ever see because I think they did weekly releases for this show, correct?
That I don't know. I just know that I think there's 2 seasons, and I think there's about 12 episodes per season or 10 episodes per season.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know that I'm invested enough in it that I would watch it week to week. But I could see like once all the episodes are out, going through and like binging them based on what else is out there. I liked it more than I thought I was going to.
Me too. I found myself initially deterred by like the harder nature of the show. Namely, they swear a lot in this, and it was not something that I was prepared for. And the show is, I guess, a spiritual sort of successor to the Harley Quinn movie because it has a lot of the same vibes and a lot of the same themes. And while I feel like I feel like they were a little bit more measured in how they used not necessarily the violence because it was pretty violent, but I think they kept the tone lighthearted. And in the first couple episodes of this, I was initially put off by how many expletives they used, and that's just because I think the jokes themselves and the delivery of the jokes are smarter than that. They don't need them. And for me, it kind of boils down to whenever you see a comic on stage and he uses the word fucking as that always is terrible. And then by episode 3, I think they were a little bit more I think they were a little more confident in the writing, and so they backed off those jokes, and I think it's way better because of it. But ultimately, I think the chemistry between Lake Bell and Kaylee, I think I'm saying her last name correctly, Cuoco.
I think that's right.
Coco. Yeah, hilarious. Coco. JB Smoove is the plant, hilarious. The cast is phenomenal.
Like they just have, what I need to look at.
They have the whole cast is great. Tony Hale really plays, I think I want to say the Riddler. George Costanza is playing their old landlord. It's just.
Do you know Jason who the Scarecrow is?
It's Rahul. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job.
It's really fun. It's definitely a show that kind of parodies itself. It's a show that's self-aware. It's definitely unique, and it's written from a very good perspective. I think that's not necessarily something you see from standard, specifically Warner Brothers or DC animation. So I definitely think it's worth a shot for everyone out there. Kev, what did you think?
So me and Paula started watching it, and we immediately were like, "Oh, this is way more than I expected. Like, it is way harsher and more aggressive, and the language is there's a lot of swearing in it. Also, the violence really ramps up, but we also like realized that the story was good, and we got shockingly into it to the point where I think we watched the first episode Saturday morning, and by the evening we had finished the first season and had started the second season. And the liberties they have with like the story they're telling, it's off the walls. They do a lot of things where it's like, oh, there are real consequences to, okay, no, they're committing to this. I think that they do an excellent job. We actually finished the second season, I think Monday or something. Yeah, so we're fully caught up, and like, I hope that we get a third season. I understand if we don't, because like it also ends in a place that's like, that's perfect. I found it insane how much I cared about certain characters. Like the fact that like I really, really felt something for Kite Man and the what's this, the landlord?
Jason Alexander. I forgot the character's name.
By the end of the series, I was like, I legitimately like care about these people. I'm blown away by that. Like, I did not expect to like this show anywhere near as much as I did, and I think like this has quickly become one of my favorite animated shows I've ever seen, just because it does such a good job. Like, I mean, if you care about DC, and like if you are okay with seeing like something where it's like there's no way that like this is its own canon, and like I really, really like where they take the story. It's cool also how many different things, like we see Superman and the Justice League eventually. It's really, really interesting, and it just seems like this team was given as much freedom as they wanted, and they like 100% committed, and we're like, you know what, let's make the best show that we can that tells a story. And the fact that like season 1 ends and you're like, wait, how is the season ending here, blows my mind, because like it does some radical things to the like the lore of Batman in this world, where it's like, what just happened? Like, did the bad guys basically win? And then the second season starts, and it just goes with that story. And by the end of the second season, there's also some moments where you're just like, it's so bold of them to make these decisions, and I'm really happy that they did, because it's really good.
It's definitely. I think it's great that they got funding for this, and I think that it's obviously like they're not worried about this fitting into any sort of official canon anywhere, because they're playing around with a lot of different things, as well they should, because why not? This world we've seen a lot of more traditional, straightforward stories. But I think it's cool to have these characters kind of play around. My only, my only criticism is that like I think the show's so clever, and the dynamic between the characters is so freaking funny, that whenever they start dipping into sort of I mean, honestly, whenever the action kicks up, I'm like, oh, I'm a little disappointed, because I really like, that there's an episode where they go to a bar mitzvah, And it's the whole thing is hilarious. And then of course at the end they have to have some action. And I was like, that's disappointing. I don't need this. That's
but like then the twist.
I just want to see
action.
Kite Man fail miserably at being a human being. It's fucking hilarious.
God,
and the Bane character is the best. The Bane character is
good.
Such a just low key troll on the Bane from Rises. Where he's
it becomes like not low key at all. Where like eventually they give Bane, they like send him off. They give him a base and it's just a pit, and he's just like, of course I was born in the pit, and it's like, oh okay, so this is just you're 100% that Bane.
Yeah,
and there's also a lot of moments where he's talking and everyone's like, we don't know what you're saying, and it's just like his reaction is like, I'm trying.
I love it.
It's very good. Yeah, they get the humor.
Time to rank. Where do we want to put the Harley Quinn series on HBO Max?
Good.
I'll say
good.
Yeah, I would nominate this for sure to be good, and I highly recommend you both watch the rest of the series if you're enjoying it, because it doubles down really, really hard.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The official ranking for Harley Quinn is good. Remember, our ranking here is a 3-fingered scale: good, bad, and just bad. And to be honest, none of those are necessarily non-starters for watching these movies, because some of the bad movies, well, I guess the bad movies are the ones you don't want to watch, but some of them I still kind of sneak back into every once in a while. Next week, we have some suggestions from our Patreon audience. Remember, if you want to be a part of the show and make some suggestions for shows we should watch for and review on the Nick List, you can go over to patreon.com/kindoffunny, back us at the $5 or above tier, and submit your suggestions via that portal, just like Jared M did. He said, for the Nick List, I would recommend About Time. It is one of my favorite movies and is truly one of the most heartwarming films, which also deals with the satisfaction take on time travel. It's perfect to watch right now in 2020 when you just need to escape. I've never seen it.
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
it was earlier on quarantine.
I can double check if it still is.
I watched About Time for the first time during quarantine. It's really good.
Okay, maybe because I kind of want to watch that. I have never seen it before, but let me get through these other two suggestions. Kevin, can you please check and see if that's on Netflix?
Yeah,
while I read these next two, Lee Polero says I randomly rewatched The Addams Family the other day. It's still great and hilarious. Raul Julia and Angelica Houston are perfect as Gomez and Morticia. That could be a fun Nick list depending on what other movies we want to watch. I mean, The Addams Family is fucking great, and I'll always say this as controversial take.
It's so good.
Values is just good, not better.
Absolutely. Values is so good. Fucking oh my god.
They really found the characters there. He also said, we watched Lemon Drop on Amazon Prime, though it's more for the minutes watched because it's an indie movie. I'm a lead-in. It's the story of a girl who tries to follow in her mother's footsteps and become a successful actor, but then gets involved with the wrong crowd. I would recommend it for Nick List, but it might be a bit too indie for it. We're not above indie movies here. We watched The Vast of Night, and I fell asleep twice during it. And then Dan Fitzsimmons comes in with the last suggestion, says, in all caps, please, for the love of all things holy, watch A Silent Voice. Already, I've been dying since the birth of the Nick List. He wants us to watch that. That's one that's popped up a lot. I would say for next week, if we're not, we did one this week. If you guys are amenable to do two, I would do A Silent Voice and About Time. But if you guys think that's too much, we can just do About Time. How do you feel about that?
No, I'm down to do both of those because I've seen About Time and I'm very excited to watch it again because I enjoy it very much. Okay. And I've always wanted to see the other one.
Joey, what do you think?
I don't care about anime, but I'll watch it.
All right. You know what? Maybe just one day that cold heart of yours can get warmed by something amazing.
Listen, I feel like I'm already pushing it by committing to watch one Miyazaki movie a week, but...
Totoro. Speaking of animation,
I don't care about necessarily.
Wait, but are you? You don't have to watch one of those movies. You're not on the.
She has to. I require her to.
By the virtue of that statement, I've only watched Totoro and Kiki.
Okay, so that statement totally a lie.
Very good movies.
That statement totally a lie.
But I'm watching Porco Rosso tonight, even though it has the weirdest premise of any movie.
It's very strange. I'm very excited. I'm watching it after this. Let me cut you guys off right there, of course, because we're about 5 minutes over for our special guest coming here. So let's officially say the Nick List for next week is About Time and A Silent Voice already, thanks to Dan Fitzsimmons and Jared. I don't promise I'm going to finish it. Which one?
A Silent Voice.
Oh, well, we'll figure it out. I mean, again, if you don't like the movie, you can bail out of it 5 minutes in and just say it didn't work for you. Yeah. Next up, we have a very special guest coming to the show. Yssa Badiola, is the creator and showrunner of Recorded by Arizal. We're going to call her in right now so she can talk about the new series that's on Rooster Teeth. There's a 4-part little kind of prelude introduction to the series right now. They're kind of vlogs, and they're really, really cool. And so as soon as she answers, we're going to talk to her about that. Please welcome her to the show. Hey, how's it going, Yssa?
Hi.
Sorry we're a bit late. We meant to call you about 5 minutes ago, but we were talking about a couple movies, and we lost track of time. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing well. We all got a chance to watch the prelude episodes for your new show, and we're very excited to talk to you about it. Do you want to give our audience sort of the pitch of what the show is first, so that I don't butcher it?
Sure. So Recorded by Arizal is a vlogging animated series. This prelude covers Arizal herself doing a summer assignment about what she wants to do as a career, essentially be this explorer of the world. But what she comes across is whether or not she actually wants to do it. It is like a huge commitment, and so you kind of see her go through these throes of words. Real word meister over here.
It sort of doubts herself and is a little bit insecure about,
yeah.
And what I thought was interesting about that, obviously, is I think that's a universal theme for anyone, specifically young adults who are trying to figure out what to do with their life. Specifically, I think all of us have a touchstone for that, having moved to various parts of the world or the country for our respective careers. Actually, Kevin didn't. Kevin was smart. He just found a job 5 minutes away from where he grew up, and he's the best of us.
No, I moved the office 5 minutes away from where I grew up. Remember?
Biggest distinction.
Fair enough. So right now, everyone can go on roosterteeth.com and watch the 4 parts and a vlog that you've done as well to introduce the show. The preludes, they're about 5-minute episodes. What was the reasoning behind that? Just doing that?
There were, at the time when we were pitching ideas, or there's like that open call for new show ideas, there were a few like sets of, I think, things they were looking for at the time in 2017. So it was kind of like short format stuff, animated. At that time, I was lead animator for Camp, so I knew some production ideas that could potentially, quote unquote, help like amp up quality while at the same time not sacrificing necessarily anything else, I guess. So the idea was more of a short format, like what is the most interesting way to go about it. And also we were very big on the idea of YouTube back then. So what I liked from YouTube was actually vlogging. So that was how I got the idea. It was like, oh, an animated vlog. And so it kind of was born from this need, but I thought it was a really interesting challenge to just try and fit as much story as you can in just 5 minutes.
I think you all do that really, really well. Specifically, one of the things that I think is cool is just your use of the camera and the vlog style of. There's one shot where she puts the camera down as her aunt enters the room, and you sort of see it like zooming it like like you would. It's kind of trying to focus on the floor, or trying to find a subject to focus. And I imagine that's largely, or there's moments where it cuts to black as well. I imagine that's sort of like to solve the production conundrum of we don't have a ton of time and resources, but it still tells the story in a very endearing way and endears you to the character as well, because we've all been there where we've gone to cut footage and been like, what was I thinking when I pointed the camera away from my face for 15 minutes and talked?
But it also feels so real to like the vlogging style of like, oh well, I'm gonna put this down so she doesn't know that I'm doing this, and
right.
It feels really organic and doesn't feel like you're trying to fill things.
Oh, thank you.
So how did you come across the idea of what the character wants to do to be this sort of like record keeper and go out into the world?
So the prelude idea was also born out of a need. My co-writer, co-developer Josh and I, we already came up with like what the idea of a full season would be, which is she's a record keeper, she's out there, and a lot of building from that full season was building the idea of like, how did she get here? We still have to build the season around like her wants, her needs, like what she experiences. And then one of our other ideas were like, now that how do we pitch, I guess, this full season? How can we try and convince people to watch it? Because it is a relatively like not the most standard format, and it is we'd want to introduce people to like a new way of watching something, and this like new IP. It is new characters and new settings. So what's the best way? And we thought, okay, let's maybe do a 4-part prelude. former writer and creative at Rooster Teeth, Joe Nicolosi, he actually gave us this idea of like, what if we actually do this short series of her in her bedroom, like vlogging about it, and then that's where we kind of got this thing, and it was a great foundation for us to build on like, okay, this is the character now, like we can actually hit on like some hints as to what she wants to do or what would fuel her in her actual journey. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it works very well to introduce you to the world and the characters in a way that feels pretty organic, and it's kind of cool to watch and unique to watch. Even though I myself can't stand looking at myself on camera, but it's
Oh.
the thought of someone vlogging in an animated series is actually kind of hilariously meta when you think about it, considering all the effort that goes into drawing one cell. On that note, I mean, the style of this is amazing. What was your inspiration for that? Is that sort of your style, or is that something that you went out and looked for?
There was some looking. Well, I know the first thing I did was I wanted to know if there was any other vlogging animated shows out there, and there's one, a Brazilian one called Surreal na Animalu. That's a pretty successful one. It's been going on for a long time, but not narrative or not serial necessarily. It's a bit more on the comedic side. So I was looking just to compare like styles of that, but majority of what I consider recorded by Arizal is a combination of my style and also really relying on everyone else to build out like the rest of the world. I did do the character designs and the turnarounds for this one, but like backgrounds, all of that, like the art team that worked on this did like super well.
That's very well done. Specifically, I mean, even the opening shots of her in the room, just the background images, the pictures, the I forget what they're called, the kinds of plants where they just
Yeah,
eat
the
air.
terrariums. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
they were
terrariums
so cute. I loved those.
Yeah, they're really cool. So where are you at right now in the overall process? Are you going to continue this sort of vibe all the way out through as you start making the episodes, or where are you at right now?
So the prelude's done. We're doing, I guess, backstage is like we're just talking about like what else we can do for a full season or quote unquote. We are still waiting. We're still trying to get the word out there and I guess figure out and facilitate how audience reacted. What are some strategies in the future that we can do? But to me, I think it's like the Oh, my dog barked. I think it's like super. I'm really happy and I'm really grateful that most people who watch it have been really super positive about it just because it's like super new. It's not your standard, like I said. So riding that wave, I'm re-strategizing as to like how we could do what a full season looks like. But yeah.
Yeah. So when you think full season, do you think we're going to stick with the sort of the format that we've established already for this, or are you wanting to do more of a traditional sort of narrative format for the animated series?
The idea we've always had was kind of sticking to the format, so it's
Sticking to the
still
vlog format.
vlogging, yeah. But the prelude was very like kind of strictly vlogging. What we've always wanted for the series itself was actually a mix, so kind of like a surprise of like just randomly breaking rules. It always starts and ends with a vlog, or it always starts with a vlog. But then one of the ideas we had is suddenly there is an episode where you do see it's just a regular episode, or it's not necessarily facilitated by a camera.
Sure.
The way I compare it is like if it's a video game. You're used to gameplay, and then suddenly like Final Fantasy VII Remake drops you in a cinematic, right? So that's how I would like to format the show. And then it's just like you're used to something, but then when something significant happens, that's where the break is, and that's when you as the audience know that you're paying attention.
That's funny. You say Final Fantasy. I have zero context for that whatsoever. I've never played a Final Fantasy game, but it does remind me of like Seinfeld starting and ending episodes with stand up, where it puts the show in context with that device, and then goes into the rest of it, and then ends with like what we've learned. So I think it's a really cool device, and obviously it's a really great way to get across information that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do exposition wise, unless you have that. I mean, literally, you have your character able to just sit there and tell the audience what's going on and setting up some the entire world within the span of 2 sentences, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Thank you.
So where would you recommend people? So roosterteeth.com, or would you prefer people to go to the YouTube links for them, or?
Oh, That's
Is it on YouTube? I forget.
Question. It is on YouTube.
Good.
All the 4 logs for the prelude are out on YouTube and Rooster Teeth. They're all free now. So either one, leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Leave a positive comment.
Leave a positive.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Say fine. Yeah, that's all. Because sometimes people leave. This is our audience. Sometimes they leave wacky comments, and we know you. We see you guys out there. Most of them are going to be, because if you say just leave a comment, they'll leave a comment about how old I look, and that's not. We don't want that at all. We're so tired of that. We're so tired of that.
Everything.
I've monopolized a lot. Excuse me. I've taken up a lot of time with the questions. Do you guys have any other questions for Yssa?
I just wanted to say, dude, shout outs for that art style. Like, looks really so cool. Yeah, it works really well. And also, like, the whole, the way that, like, the story is being told, like, these logs that are being recorded, and, like, the fact that, like, that makes so much sense with how you can do it in the future, and what her role is, and what the name is, which I didn't realize until you said it, like, when you started talking. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, of course, because, was it the second one where she talks to the other kid, the adult doing it, which like that was so like uncomfortable, and I was like, why doesn't he have a camera feed? What's going on? Where's his camera feed? And like the way like he takes the story and is like, I don't know, maybe you don't want to do this. This is dangerous stuff. It's like, oh, this is freaking me out. I'm excited to see more of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I really love that episode too, because I feel like to some degree everybody's kind of had that conversation or that reckoning within themselves of like, maybe this thing that I thought I wanted to do for a really long time isn't the thing I want to do. And then like, I just really also love the shot of like her crying with her bookcase. It's like, oh, you start to realize like what kind of concessions you would have to make for this like dream role. And she's like, oh, but my books, like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do without this? Like, I thought it was really fun and like super relatable of like, oh yeah, like, these are touchstones that so many people have, and so it was really cool to see it in this like new format and style. So yeah, I really liked it.
Thank you. Oh my god, that means so much.
Also, like, I'm excited to see more of the world, because it just seems very, very complex. The way you guys just throw us in there, and she's rattling stuff off and responding to people and being like, oh, I know the history of all this. It's like, okay, cool. I want to see some more of this.
Oh,
speaking of that, when can we expect to see more of this? I always have to ask that question. You can very much answer however you like.
To be determined.
TBD, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Yssa, thank you so much for joining us and popping on and giving us a little time to talk about the show. Everyone out there, if you're listening or watching this, please go over to roosterteeth.com and check out Recorded by Arizal. It is very cool and very unique and very fun. And you can leave a very fun comment that has nothing to do with my age on either Rooster Teeth, letting them know you want more. And if you want, you can just tweet at Lou Medina and tell him to make this show happen right now. Yes, Louis. Exactly. Or Jeff as well. I'm sure Jeff would take that, but Lou is always fun. I haven't given him crap in a while, so please tweet at Lou Medina and be like, we want more of this, make it happen. All right, everyone. Well, that's been this week's episode of Screencast. Remember, Nicholas next week is going to be a silent voice and About Time. And I'm not saying it's About Time. I mean About Time, the movie, which I think is a Rachel McAdams movie, but I'm not quite sure. Or
she's in him.
Yeah, she's in it. Great. Okay, that's one where he time travels. Fantastic. We'll be back next week, next Thursday, I believe, with more Screencast news. Until then, we'll see you online.